What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Wnba Dfs here to bring you guys that WNBA slate breakdown for the two-game WNBA slate. I will be focusing on the first two games, the early games, because this is the bigger prize pool. We got 10K to first. I know that there's 4 games. If you guys want to get any info on the 2 later games, I can do something for it, but I will be focusing on these first 2 games right here just because I think these are the better games. I'd rather not play teams that are on the back end of a back-to-back. Definitely not something that I want to do, especially considering that these 2 later games should be blowouts. They should. The Las Vegas Aces should definitely be able to blow out the Sparks, especially with the fact that the Sparks play no defense. And then also the Chicago Sky, we just saw what they did the other day. I know they got Kennedy Carter back, but they brought her off the bench. And then we've already seen this same song and dance. I'm really not too thrilled to go right back to it. But Connecticut versus Atlanta, that should be a pretty tight game, close game, especially with Jordan Canada finally being back in the starting lineup with them and getting to play with Alicia Gray and Ryan Howard. They look very good in that first game. And then Seattle taking on the Indiana Fever. We got the Fighting Irish girls going back to their stomping grounds, going up against Indy, and it was a banger the last time that these 2 teams played. So definitely going to check that out, especially because 10K to first, I would much rather play for that versus the 1 or 2K that they have over here on DK. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss any of the content I'm dropping over here on the channel. And drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos help you guys win some money. Quick injury report for us to go over. Dejanay Carrington, we got to know if she's going to be back today and playing and starting. That's the biggest thing. With her being out, they started Ty Harris, and Ty has typically been the regular starter. But if they actually decide they want Carrington to run the show, being quote-unquote the point guard, her and Marbury, that could be your starting duo right there. Other than that, no real news to really worry about. T. Mitch, other guard rotation, in the rotation would be the only one that's out that we actually have to worry about. Over on Atlanta, AP is still going to be out for them. Canada is off the injury report, and she is playing. She is starting and looked very good with her being out there with that starting lineup. Definitely been the only thing that the Atlanta Dream had been missing all season was an actual point guard. They finally got it. Seattle Storm, no news to report for them over there. And for the Indiana Fever, Tammy Fag-Bentley is still going to be out. Heading over to DraftKings, the site that I play the most on the site. If you guys don't got an account, you want one, check the link down in the description below so you guys can get that deposit match bonus and join your boy over here on the King. As always, looking at it, AT, top of the block, 10-7. Like I said last time when they had her over here and she was priced at that low 9K range, I was like, just go ahead and jump on that. Went out there, damn near triple-double, 45 fantasy points, much needed, much deserved. Going right here to the 10-7, I will say, looking at everything on the slate, I can see going ahead and getting up there to her. She has actually played Atlanta pretty well so far on the season. Don't mind it at all. I will say if Carrington is out, definitely will have some more interest in the 3 bigs up here in AT, Bonner, and MM. If Carrington is in, I'm definitely going to have a little bit less interest in them. I will say the one that does stick out to me is DeWanna Bonner. She has played Atlanta pretty well so far this season. I do like her numbers. They have played 3 times so far. 36, 26, and 37 fantasy points in those games. So 2 of those games, she dropped 30-plus fantasy points. And if we're going to get Bonner being on fire, and the fact that you have M out there, and they can spread the floor so well with Bonner and M being out there on the wing, and she's able to go out there and knock down those shots like what she just did in that last game, I would love that. Give me another 35, 40-plus fantasy point game out here. Definitely, especially at 9-4. Not a bad price. Gets you off of the Caitlin Clarks, the Jewel Lloyds, the Skylar Diggins-Smith of the day. And what I would imagine is going to be the lower-owned game when it comes down to it at the end of the day here. Outside of that, Bree Jones, not really going to go there to her. She's actually had a quite, frankly, not the best game logs going up against Atlanta so far this season. Nothing for us to write home about, so I'm really not too interested in her today. For me, it really is just the top 3 up here in AT, Bonner, and MM. Especially if Carrington is going to be out. If Carrington's in, I will have a little less interest in M just because I'm not exactly sure what that dynamic is going to look like with them both being out there. And I'm not sure if she's going to actually go out here and be able to give us another 30 fantasy point outing, especially being priced at 9K. That's priced as if you're going to be out there running the show without Carrington being out there. And Carrington is going to have to get some shots as well. She's going to take some of those rebounds and some of those assists and things like that away from other players like M, like AT. So definitely just have to get that news. Outside of that, off the bench, Burton would be the only one you can probably take a stab at just because there is no Tiffany Mitchell. You know she is going to go out there and she's going to get burned. She's going to get run, and they love what they're getting from Burton. You are going to have to worry about the fact that Ty Harris, if she's playing off the bench, those minutes, I would expect maybe 20 from both of them. So again, I would rather go to Burton just because she is cheaper. Outside of that, I'm not messing with O&O. I'm not messing with Bickle, Nadir Falls, or Taylor. None of those are, there's no reason for us to go down there and get cute, is the best word to say. Going here to Atlanta. Going over to Atlanta, just looking at it, Ryan Howard, 8-9. Definitely, I tried to get her last slate, couldn't get her, especially because she was priced at 7K. Like, that was just too cheap for what Ryan can go out here and do. And she had a really great game. If you can actually get to her today, don't mind it at all, but she has not played going up against Connecticut very well. Only played in 1 out of the 3 games that they played this season, and it was definitely a stinker, something to forget about. Connecticut, they do play slow. They are a grinded out defense, and definitely should make life hard for Ryan out here. I will say I have more interest in Tina Charles, who actually has put up over a fantasy point per minute in every game that she's played going up against them. And the way that you actually do attack Connecticut is with opposing bigs. Opposing bigs have actually had decent games, giving us a rough, safe floor right around 28 to 30 fantasy points from the last couple of game logs and stuff that I was able to look at and pull up looking at it. So Tina Charles, actually really do like her here in the spot. Going up against Connecticut, 23 minutes. She dropped 27.25 fantasy points. So again, the upside is definitely there for Tina, especially at the AK price tag, when you're going to need to find a nice, decent mid-tier option that's not going to kill your line, but can definitely give you some upside. Really do like that for Tina Charles. And outside of that, not to necessarily focus on Alicia Gray, especially with just everyone being back and how everything should be spread out. 19 points, that's really nice. But again, her herself, she also has not had the best games going up against Connecticut, at least from what I would want to pay for her. 21 minutes against Connecticut, 27.75 fantasy points. That was without Ryan. Ryan only played in the first game going up against them. 33 minutes, she dropped 27.75 fantasy points right there in that second one. And then the last one, 30 minutes, 17 fantasy points. And this was with Ryan playing in that game. So again, if you want to mess with Alicia Gray at 7-7, be my guest, but I would much rather come down here to Canada, who actually did get to play in one of the games going up against the Connecticut Sun. And in that game, when she did play this season in 29 minutes, she dropped 26 fantasy points. I don't mind that at all for her here, especially if she's going to be doing the playmaking like what she already does. The scoring, we know she can score. Her shot just is not falling. 2 of 10 in the last game. Granted, first game back from the break. Hopefully she could be a little bit more efficient. Give me like the 4 of 7 or a 5 of 9 type game from you, and definitely just give me the assist, the steal upside that you already have, and then a rebound or 2. Definitely she will be able to pay off that price tag. I actually do like the upside for Canada over everyone else over here on the Atlanta Dream. Then of course Tina Charles. Now with AP being back, I'm really not messing with anything off of this bench. AP being out, I'm still not messing with anything on this bench. Nas Hillman, Cadwell, Haley Jones, Coffee, none of these heck no, not messing with none of them. And I will say I know everyone's DFS darling in Cheyenne Parker-Tyus. 11 minutes in that last game going up against the Storm. You already know that she's pretty much out the door. They don't like her over here in Atlanta. And if you want anything else to go with it, going up against Connecticut, she's played very little minutes going up against Connecticut so far this season. You would think they would need her size going up against them, but nope, that has not been the case. She has not played. She's not been graced with those minutes out there. Going over to Seattle, taking on the Indiana Fever, and what I do believe should be the game of the day. This definitely should be a nice back and forth. Like I said, we got the Notre Dame girls going back to their stomping grounds in Indy. The upside for Lloyd, the upside for Skylar definitely will be there. It has been fireworks in all 3 games that they have played this season, and you know they like to show out. Over here, honestly, just straight out the rip, everyone in the starting lineup is in play. NECA, Lloyd, Ezzy, Skylar, all of them have had some pretty decent games going up against them so far this season. Everyone is over 30 plus fantasy points in all those games. The only one that dropped a stinker was Skylar Diggins-Smith, and that was in the first game that they played going up against them, which I don't think that we can actually see it here. 31, nope. 26, yep, there it goes. 26 minutes, she dropped 9.25 fantasy points in that first game. 9.25, no. But outside of that, she's went out there in 31 minutes. She had the 39 fantasy points, and then 31 minutes again in the last game, 26 fantasy points. But in Indy, that was the game that she dropped the 39 fantasy points in that game. And for Jewel Lloyd, in that game that was in Indy, she played 27 minutes. She dropped 32 fantasy points in that game. First 2 games playing on Seattle's court, she literally just destroyed with the 60 burger that she dropped on the season, and also a 50 burger as well. And then last but not least is going to be our girl NECA. We already know the block upside is there, and if she can go out here and actually play decent, like we know she can, 8,700 to me is too cheap for what Ezzy can go out here and do. Hopefully she shakes off that Olympic rust that she has on her and goes out here and balls to the wall. 32, 43, and 28 fantasy points in the 3 games that she has played going up against them. And that 43 fantasy points was on Indy's court where they will be playing today. I do like the upside, especially when I'm getting a player that I know has a high upside. Mispriced. Going up against a much better Indy team, which again, I do think the break did wonders for them, giving them that break, letting them be able to digest and let Caitlin just be a human, be a person, and, just process the game. definitely think it's doing wonders. Over here off the bench for Seattle, really not too interested in anybody over here. I would take a stab at Sammy if I had to take a stab at anything. But Holmes, Russell, Vivians, Mula, who never is going to see the court and is just out there for be a fashion icon, not messing with any of those over there. Over here on the Indy side, though, Caitlin Clark, like I said, giving her time to be able to process the game definitely has done wonders for her. Just being able to get that break, it was literally much needed. Pretty much needed. That all-star break and just everything going into it for him, much needed. And you can see it with her being out there on the court. In the last game, she was on track to actually go give us a triple-double, but she fell short, didn't get it. Going up in this matchup, going versus the Seattle Storm, she's done decent in those games. She's dropped 43 fantasy points, 37 fantasy points, and 33 fantasy points in the 3 games so far going up against them. Priced at $12K, definitely. I think I'd rather play Lloyd or Skylar. I understand the upside, the ceiling that Caitlin can give us is just huge, but at 12K, I really just think I'm gonna go with my known players that I know I can actually get a really good upside in play from. To me, the main player that sticks out over here on the Indiana Fever is going to be Nalissa Smith at 8,300 in the 3 games that they have played going up against them. Again, no Tabby Fag Bentley, so we don't have to worry about those minutes right there for her. She played 28 minutes in that game going against Phoenix Mercury, 26.25 fantasy points. I swear she was on track to put up more fantasy points than that, but that's what she ended up with. But in the 3 games going up against Seattle, 33 minutes, she dropped 33.75 fantasy points in that game. 33 minutes, 46 fantasy points, and 27 minutes, 38 fantasy points. So if we're going to get good Nalissa out here, balling Nalissa, rebounding, playing some good defense, scoring really well off of cuts, and maybe she can get the 3 ball to fall to Nalissa. Love the upside for her here in this matchup. Really don't hate it, don't mind it. As we do know, opposing power forwards has been one spot that we actually have been able to attack going up against Seattle all season long, and I don't see any reason not to go right back to it. Outside of that, Aaliyah Boston, the dynamic duo between her and Caitlin, looks very good out there. I definitely could see her possible double-double here in this matchup. Going up against Seattle so far this season, 28 minutes, 35 fantasy points, 29, 35 fantasy points, and 15, 10.75 fantasy points. So definitely can't go with Boston, but I will say just the price tag of both the Boston and Caitlin Clark duo, it's the highest price on the slate. I really kind of don't see a need to go there, especially when I can go Jewel Lloyd and Ezzy, much cheaper. I can get that duo right there, or I can go with the Ezzy and the Skylar Diggins-Smith duo. Definitely a better price to take right there, going with that versus trying to take the Indiana Fever duo of that big right there. Granted, it probably will be lower owned to stack those two just because they are so expensive and pricey, but I really don't see the need to actually go there for that on today's slate. But yeah, as always, Prize Picks is kind of slow and late to getting everything up. I will say, out of all the props up here on the board, I do like Caitlin Clark. I will continue to hammer her assists just because she does seem to be a double-double machine in that regards to it, going out there and being able to get at least 10 assists, especially, again, digesting the game. Just think that's done wonders for her. 9.5 assists, I'll take the over on that. And then Skylar Diggins-Smith, 6 assists. I know last game she did not go out there and pass the ball. She was out there scoring. She was killing it. I will go right back to the well in a play that has been paying dividends for us, and that has been taking opposing point guards and their assist numbers going up against the Indiana Fever. Both of those plays right there would be plays that I would actually take on today's slate, and what I would be looking at. And if you want further numbers, Skylar is 2 for 3 on the season going up against the Indiana Fever with 9 assists and 8 assists, and those were her better games going up against them. So again, if we think this is going to be a better game, I would definitely rock with Skylar's assist. And if you want to pair it up with something, definitely can go over here to the points. Maybe rock with taking Jewel Lloyd at 21.5 points for her. Expect for her to ball out. Or another one you can go ahead and take would be going and pairing it up with Ezzy, 21.5 points and rebounds. That would be something I would pair up with Skylar's assist. So typically, if I'm taking a player for their assist, I normally try to find something I can run it back with who are they going to actually be dishing rock to, things like that. That's just a correlation thing that I actually like to do whenever it comes down to it. But that's going to be it for me, guys. If you guys want some more info on the later slate, let me know down in the comment section. I'll definitely give that to you guys. Good luck to everybody. It is Sunday. Weird things happen on Sunday. Remember that. Peace.